Welcome to Imperfect Momming. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we are actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So, what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can still all be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Mom Happy Hour. And if you're listening on Imperfect Momming podcast, welcome to you as well. I'm coming a little later than I said I was going to in my newsletter. And it got me smiling because I used to get so annoyed with my dad for being late all the time. And, in reality, when I got to be an adult with a business and a kid, I suddenly had a lot more compassion for my dad and his tardiness, because when you own a business, you always think there's just one more thing I got to do before I leave. I just got to do this. I have time for this one more thing. I want to do this one more thing. And when you're a mom, when you're a parent, I got to do this one more thing, or the kids aren't listening, or you have to take the dog to the vet, and you forget that you pushed back your recording of Mom Happy Hour till 9:30 and didn't put that in the email. So speaking of kids not listening, I was thinking about this quote that I've heard many, many times in my direct sales business. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And it was always told to me by my recruiter, my upline, because she would tell me something and I would ignore it or whatever. I would forget about it. I wasn't ready for it. And then I would hear someone else tell me, and I would go back to my leader and say, "Oh my gosh, I just heard this cool thing that I've never heard before." She would roll her eyes and she would say, "I've said that probably 50 times. And when the student is ready, the teacher will appear." And I started doing that, or I did that once or more with my boyfriend too. The most recent time was yesterday, when we've been trying to teach our new dog, Audi, to sit. And she hasn't picked it up yet. And my boyfriend said, "Well, push her butt down." And I haven't done that. I just kept saying a word that she doesn't understand, hoping that she'll figure it out and do what I'm telling her to do. And then I was petting her, and I realized as I got my hand closer to her tail that her butt would start to drop. And when I'd go all the way down to the table, she would take her down to her tail, she would drop her butt. And I went back to my boyfriend. I was like, "Look, when you pull on her tail, not hard, just a little bit, when you pull on her tail, she sits." And he goes, "Oh, it's kind of like pushing her butt down." It's like, yes, it is. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I got to thinking about this idea of when the student is ready and the teacher will appear. And I Googled how to talk so your kids listen.
And, I just wanted little tips. We struggle in our house for Xander to listen now and again, or all the time, or daily, every minute, anytime I say anything to him. He's always doing something else that he wants to be doing more. And I get it. I get it. I get it. And we have reading to do. So, I found this YouTube video from a YouTube channel called Life on Purpose TV. And I loved the energy of this guy. I was super bummed that he never said his name on the channel, on this video. Have no idea who he is. I just know his channel is Live on Purpose TV. So one of the things, so he gave 5 tips. He said 4 and a bonus one. So I'm giving you 4 tips and a bonus one. So the first tip was language, and they all start with the letter L, and I love the creativity of that. So all 5 tips start with the letter L. Tip number 1 is language. So of course we want to use language that they understand. So if they're 5 years old, we're going to use different words than if they're 11 or if they're 18. We're going to talk in a different way. We're going to use different language. Tip number 2 is level. You want to get down on their level. And I love this because we spend a lot of time just like talking down to kids, talking at kids. And we're the big, scary adult a lot of times, especially when we raise our voice. So when we get down on their level, if that becomes a habit of yours, I don't know about you, but I can't be on the level of my son and be yelling at him in his face. Like it immediately drops me down. And that was my chair just dropped down, and it's continuing to drop because it's one of those chairs that just loves to do that. And it usually drives me insane. But it is filling my purpose at this moment. So when you drop down to their level, it really just drops your energy too. And it makes it so you're not angry. Like if you're angry in these moments and you want them to listen, if you're yelling at your kids, they're not listening. They're not hearing. They're not learning. Why? Because when you're yelling, when you're raising their voice, I'm losing my words. Their lizard brain, their primal function has been activated. They are scared. They are now in fight, flight, or freeze. I think faint is even one of them. They always add a new F here, there, and everywhere. They are in fight, flight, freeze, or faint mode. We've talked about this on the podcast before with various different brain experts. Raising Brains is still on my reading to-do list by Sarah Allen. So get down on their level, because that'll help you level down your emotions, and then you can talk to them. Lean in. So this one kind of caught me a little bit off guard. This is tip number 3. It caught me a little off guard because if you're angry and you're leaning in, that's scary. But if you've dropped to their level and you're leaning in, now they have your rapt attention, or you have their rapt attention, both, because you've leaned in. It's different. I don't know why, but it's different. I've tried it. It's working. I like it. Number 4 is light up. When we have monotone voices, when we're just rattling off like blah, 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 that's what it sounds like to them. It's like the mom from Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. That's what they're hearing. They're not listening to you because you're just in lecture mode. But when you're voice is up and excited and happy, they're way more likely to listen and absorb what you're talking about. Bonus tip number 5 is listen, meaning you listen to them. I don't know about you. I feel like every single person's experienced this, where there's someone that you're in a conversation with and they're talking and they're talking and they're talking and not letting you get in a word edgewise. And this happened to me the other day. Someone new that I'd met was just talking, and I had things that I wanted to contribute to what he was saying, and he was just talking. And I started my sentence several times thinking within a pause of what he was telling me, and I'd start talking and he'd talk right over me. And I think I did that 3 times before I just shut down. And that's where I feel like, well, if they're not listening to me, I'm not going to listen to them. And when I heard this YouTube video from Life on Purpose, or Live on Purpose, Live on Purpose, Live on Purpose. When I heard this video, and that was his 5th tip, it reminded me of that conversation with this person that I just met, who was talking and talking and talking and not letting me talk and not listening to me. And it reminded me of how I shut down and how I always shut down in those kinds of conversations. If I can't contribute to the conversation, I don't want to be in the conversation. I have thoughts too that I want to listen to, or that I want to say. I want people to listen to me too. I listen, so I want you to listen to me. So that was tip number 5. So we want to use language that they understand. We want to get down on their level. We want to lean in. We want to light up, and we want to listen. So those are my tips for today that I'm sharing from Live on Purpose YouTube channel. Check them out. If you like this episode, if you found it useful, share it with another mom. Share it with someone that you think will benefit. I really am excited to grow my channel, my YouTube, my podcast, my mom group, Moms Conquering Guilt. So if you are enjoying this podcast, share it with others. Let's grow and share a positive message that we can live a life without guilt. We can parent peacefully. We can live a peaceful life. So we'll have another episode next week, or Thursday this week, actually. And I'll be doing Mom Happy Hour next week again. And until we meet again, keep healing. Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Momming. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit AlysiaLyons.com. That's AlysiaLyons.com. See you next time.